Thank you everyone for joining. My name is Marisa, whatever you want to call me. And I'm with WorkWell NYC, the city's workplace wellness program. I know some of you are old friends by now, but we've got a lot of new faces in the room. So I just want to give a quick overview of who we are. We're the city's workplace wellness program, and we are here to support every single city employee in being the best, healthiest they can be. So we're really here to help you be well, take care of your mental health, eat well by taking care of your nutrition, move more with physical activity, and take action to really prevent disease and, take action to be healthy. And so those are our four main program areas. And as part of our Eat Well initiative, we've been very fortunate to work with Karen and Beautifully Fed to have this series of In the Kitchen with WorkWell NYC. I'm going to turn it back over to Fiona and Karen so we can get cooking.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Marissa. And I'm Karen. Hi, everybody. I'm Karen Sharfis. I'm one of the partners in Beautifully Fed Foods. Fiona is also my partner, and she'll tell you a little bit about herself in a moment. But I'll tell you a bit about Beautifully Fed Foods. We're a women-led collective of Black and Brown people from the African and Latin American diasporas. We are trained in culinary arts, farmers, nutrition, as well as food justice. And our mission is to encourage people to celebrate their cultures, honor the wisdom of their bodies, and the traditions of their ancestors through food, cooking it, throwing it, eating it, one delicious bite at a time. Because in our minds, if it doesn't taste good, what's the point? So we do this in the cooking classes we teach online and in person. Hopefully we'll get to go in person again. Online is new for us. This is a brand new platform. We've only been doing this as a result of COVID, and we're glad that we had the opportunity to do this and to do it with WorkWell and all. And that's it for now. Fiona, please. Fiona's my sous chef, y'all. Welcome, Fiona.
Hi, everyone. It is so good to be back with you again. I see some familiar names in the chat, in the participant list. So welcome back. I am Fiona. As Karen mentioned, I'm her sous chef and tech assistant during these cooking classes. I am a home cook and a community chef myself. I am also a fitness instructor. I actually teach with Shape Up NYC, which is a program of the Department of Parks. So I too am a big advocate of movement as well as healthy but tasty foods. So I am going to just turn it back over to Karen so that we can jump right into it. You have the ingredients and the supplies listed here, and in just a moment, I will share a link to the PDF with the full recipe. So Karen, let me turn it back over to you.
Yeah, folks, so to be clear, we are making asparagus, lemon garlic asparagus with cannellini beans, my favorite bean. Today's lesson is about greens and beans. It's not peach salsa. Sorry, we did that last week. But we hope to be back with WorkWell for more classes. So if this is the first one that you're catching with us, welcome. We're glad you're here, and we hope to see you again soon. And I'd love to hear from those of you. I'm curious to know how many of our regulars are here. If you've come to one or more class, give us a shout out or just yell it out. If you've come to 3 or more classes, holla at us. And who's come to all 5 of our classes since we began last month? I'm really curious. Tell me.
Oh, Imani has been to all 5.
Yes.
Yeah. Renee has been to 4 classes. Amazing.
Awesome.
And we have lots of first timers. And then we have Elizabeth saying, last class, boo-hoo. We feel the same way. We feel the same way.
It's true, y'all. I was like hesitant. It's kind of like how I get when I'm reading a really good book. I'm getting close to the end. I'll just push it away. It's usually right by my nightstand, by my bed, so I can read it before going to sleep. But when I'm towards the end, I push it away from my bed. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to think about it. It's not happening. I was the same way with this class. Usually I'm here prepping around 3 o'clock. I'm at my friend's place, also one of our business partners in Beautiful Fed Food. She invited me to her kitchen to teach this class when my internet went out suddenly. Kind of need that for virtual programming. So I've been coming here, but I'm usually here on 3. And today I just couldn't. I was resistant. Like I was like, why haven't I left the house? What's going on? And it's because I'm getting towards the end of the pages in the book, and I don't want it to be over. So again, we hope we'll be back soon. But this is so green beans, and we wanted to do a lesson strictly about green beans and strictly about beans and greens. That's what it is, beans and greens, because studies have shown that, particularly in the American diet, folks are missing those 2 ingredients in their diet quite a bit. Like we're not eating enough greens, we're not eating enough beans, both of which are really great sources of fiber and protein, and just taste good. So we wanted to create a dish that's really tasty, really delicious, and provides the nutrients that a lot of us are missing. So I've got my garlic here. And Fiona, I'm going to need you to tell me what I'm supposed to be doing because I forgot. And for those of you who's cooking along, that's what I need to know. Who's cooking with us tonight? Is everybody just watching the show? They love this.
Elizabeth is cooking with us.
Yay.
Let's see. Let me check in the chat if anyone else mentioned. Who else is cooking?
As Fiona is looking, I'll talk to you directly, Elizabeth. What I did when I got to the kitchen today, and I want you to do the same thing, is I looked at the ingredient list, got all my ingredients together, and then also, since it's the last class, and it's a little special, I decided to look for additional things that I might want to add to this dish, things that might complement it, go well with it. So what I have is, in another class on Monday, we made our own herb salt. Herb salt. So I have sea salt with garlic in here and a bunch of herbs: rosemary, tarragon, thyme. I think that's it, and parsley as well. And so I might add this as my salt to add more flavor. I also have some red peppercorn. They're like black pepper, y'all, but red. I didn't even know this was a thing. Did you know this was a thing? It's a thing. I found it in Angelique's cupboard.
Can you actually put it under your camera again so that we could see it a little bit lower? Yeah, there we go.
Where's the label? Pink peppercorns. Voila. And I tasted it the last time I was here. They're sweet and pepper. They got a taste of pepper, no heat. There's no heat to it, but it's a really nice. It's a vibrant flavor, vibrant pepper. Love it. That's going in here. So I'm gathering that. If I had wine, I'd put wine in this. I've got Parmesan cheese as well. So I'm going to do this. And I figure I love the green and the white. So I've got my cannellini beans. I've already rinsed them, washed and rinsed them. So that gets out like up to 70% of the salt can be reduced if you rinse your veggies. And I've got my green asparagus that I chopped up. I'm going to show you how to chop it in a little bit. You can keep yours whole if you like, totally up to you. Or just cut them in 3, whatever you want. I'll walk you through it. And finally, I've got sun-dried tomatoes. I like the white, the green. I want some red in here. Red, golden, green colors of Jamaica and other islands. I'm going to add these over top. Some sun-dried tomatoes for some sweetness, a little bit of saltiness too. So I'm going to temper the salt that I put in here. Don't go too wild because the sun-dried tomatoes will add extra salt. So that's what I'm doing. So I encourage you, if I had wine, I'd be cooking with wine with this. If you like wine, if you are a drinker, I would encourage that. Yeah, mushrooms would be nice to add. What are folks thinking? As I mentioned, what I've got in my kitchen and what I'm incorporating. What are some things?
We actually have a few questions that I'd like to jump in with.
Okay.
So, so the peppercorns, where did you get them? Wegmans by any chance?
I got them in Angelique's closet. Angelique is my mentor. I'm in her kitchen. But she told me she bought them at Tahadi's.
Yeah.
So we should tell y'all, you folks told us in the chat, we've got Brooklyn represented, Long Island, I think I saw, Queens. Anybody from the Bronx here? I'm from the Bronx, but I live in Brooklyn. So Tahadi's is in Brooklyn, and that's a spice shop where she got this. But yeah, you're not gonna find it you're likely not going to find it at your neighborhood grocer. You may get it at a Trader Joe's or Whole Foods. I mean, certainly at specialty gourmet food stores and stuff. But ask and look for it. It's also possible that, you know, we don't see it because we're not looking for it. I'm not looking for pink pepper.
Yeah, Elizabeth mentioned that you can get peppercorns anywhere. So I think the question may have been specifically about the, are they called red or pink?
They're called pink peppercorns.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called pink peppercorns. So yeah, you can get peppercorns.
So we already have a few more questions. Do you chop the sun-dried tomatoes?
Do I what them?
Do you chop the sun-dried tomatoes?
Yeah, I'll be chopping them. They come whole. I'll show it to you in a little bit. Yeah, they're kind of flat and big, and they're hard for me. They're hard to chew. They're really chewy and takes a lot of work, so I like to cut them up. I like to chop them up quite a bit.
And Renee mentioned that she is going to be, or that she mashed her garlic, and she asked if that was okay, and I said, sure.
You mashed it?
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Mashed garlic. I find the bigger your garlic pieces, the more flavor it imparts to your dish. So smashed, you know, has a larger surface area, so you'll get more of that garlic experience. So, yeah, smash it. Somebody else in one of our classes talks about, and I can't believe we haven't done this yet. We got to do roast. We have to roast garlic in one of our classes. Show folks the technique for doing that, because oh my God, y'all, it's so easy for one, and what you get out of it amps up so much flavor. You could put that on toast. You could put that just about anything that you're cooking. Just add a little bit of roast garlic. The flavor is just intensified, and it's sweet. It's a sweeter, garlicky experience. Do that. Okay. You do that, and I'm gonna do this. What am I doing?
How many sun-dried tomatoes? Is that just to taste?
To taste, to look at your plate, your dish, and see, you know, what makes sense. You watch me kind of eyeball it as we go. I've got this jar is just about full. I'll probably take out 4 or 5. One thing I didn't do.
Yeah, so we're going to start by heating the oil in a pan over medium heat. Then we're going to add the thyme and garlic until fragrant, which should be about 1 minute. So the recipe calls for 6 cloves of garlic and then 3 to 4 sprigs of fresh thyme.
Beautiful. I don't have thyme. We're all about substitutions here in time of COVID. So I've got rosemary. I'm going to add that in.
So Elizabeth mentioned that she saw the pink peppercorns at the West Side Market, in case anybody is interested. Thanks for that tip, Elizabeth.
Where's the West Side Market? In the city? NYC?
This is amazing that we have 3 Elizabeths on tonight who are chatting with us.
Elizabeth, you're going to have to say where you're from. Maybe that'll help. Maybe it won't. No.
So there are lots of questions about if you can use different things. And so we also mentioned that you should use what you have. So if Karen is using fresh thyme or you have dried thyme, that's great. You can definitely use that in the recipe.
Yeah. We also, in our recipes for this series, we've been putting in substitutions. Fiona, did you include the recipe in the link for folks to get access to?
I did. I'll send it again in case you missed it.
We like including substitutions there so that if we're suggesting one thing for the recipe, but you've got something else in your cabinet, in your fridge, that you like, that may work better, you're able to use that to go for it. It's all about, you know, making what you like. We had a class the other day where I was making Brussels sprouts and with salmon, and it was like with a lemon vinaigrette that we made, lemon honey vinaigrette, really good. And the guy was cooking with us, Tim, but he said, I'm not making the Brussels sprouts. I was like, why not? Why not? Because I don't eat Brussels sprouts. They make me gassy. I was like, I get that. So we respect it. You don't have to, you know, if you have something else that you enjoy eating that you think might go well, and we give you like some ideas, but it's by no means an exhaustive list. It's just something to get you started. I already have some rosemary that I chopped up that I forgot about. As I'm thinking ahead. Oh, I'm even gonna put some of my red peppercorns, my pink peppercorns in here. I love adding my spices to my hot pan. to the oil or butter or whatever fat I have in
Would
here.
you mind raising your camera just a little bit, because we actually can't see your pan? A little more. Better, better.
Voila, voila.
Perfect.
And that's why you so put it in a pan because it helps to release all the stuff, all the flavors. Get in there. Oh my God. Oh y'all, you could smell this rosemary. It's so heady. It's so calming. Really, it's like I say this all whenever I'm cooking it. It's the smell for me is intoxicating. It's like opening a bottle of your favorite wine, and the smell just gets to you. And for me, at least, it relaxes me. And rosemary has that same effect. Oh, I love this. Okay, and to this I add my beans. Who needs a recipe for that? Right. Garlic.
So you would add the beans, stir to combine, and cook over medium heat until they begin to soften, which is about 10 minutes.
Beautiful. I'm gonna feed my host here. After this, we've been here cooking in the kitchen for 5 days now. Not straight, not all this week, but over the last 5 weeks. And I want to thank them by sharing this meal with them. So I'm doubling the recipe. I also made pasta. So I put pasta on the side, put some pasta on the side, because this dish is really great with noodles. I've also had this, I'll like smash up the beans a little bit towards the end. Right now I'm mixing the beans. Let me show you. I'm mixing up the beans.
Someone that they'll be having theirs with quinoa, which sounds.
I was going to suggest, or some, have it over some grain. Your favorite grain would be great. Have it on top of bread, a toasted crusty bread. I'm going to have mine over pasta, like I said, and I have some bread that I will toast a little bit.
I love the quinoa because it really ups the protein content of the dish.
Okay, I'll turn that up just a little bit more.
So to give you a little bit of a peek of the next step, we'll be adding the asparagus and lemon zest. So I guess you got to zest your lemon.
It's my lemon. So that's something that I can do. I'm also
going to zesting some lemon.
You know what else is good to do right here? To salt it at this stage. Add a little bit of salt. Your beans, have the flavor in there. And I'm gonna cut up the rest of my. That's my rosemary. 2 sprigs. I have 3 sprigs already in there, but I know I like to garnish with rosemary, where at the ends I finish it with a little bit extra on top, so it looks pretty, and there's more of that fresh taste, because right now the rosemary is getting, cooked, and it's open, the heat is releasing a lot of the flavor.
So Elizabeth was just at the farmer's market, and she says that they'll be having it over fresh bread, which sounds yummy.
Yes.
Bread.
Fresh bread. Reminds me, even if you don't have such fresh bread, if you have some older bread, turn that into breadcrumbs by just coarsely, don't even chop it. I would just rip it up if it's, enough that you can rip, if it's not too hard. Rip it up, or if it is too hard, use a knife, cut it up. But get them into like chunks, they're really small. And then you get a pan and you heat that with some olive oil, some garlic, some onions, and then you saute those breadcrumbs until they toast up, and then you've got breadcrumbs, and you can put that over top of this or anything that you have. And my beans are starting to sizzle. They're talking to me. The pot is talking to me, so I know it's time to add something.
It's also great to make breadcrumbs when you have a bread that didn't turn out quite as light and fluffy as you wanted this weekend. It was a little bit heavier than I would have liked. So it's like, yeah, I think this loaf will become breadcrumbs.
There you go. That's good bait.
Always a way to use something that you've made that may not have turned out in the way that you might like.
Definitely. So this is an organic lemon. We're gonna zest it. I'm gonna zest it right over the pot. I'm actually, because it's making so much sound right now, talking to me, I'm gonna add a little bit of, I put in the recipe water. You can add some water right now, just because you wanna make a bit of a sauce. So I'm just putting enough to cover the bottom of the pan. Just the bottom. Easy. And I put in vegetable broth, like I said. If you have wine, now would be the time to add that. White wine would be great. Oh, red wine could be interesting too. I might try that one day. And I'm zesting my organic lemon. And why do we use organic lemon when we're zesting? Those of us who've been with us a little bit longer, who knows the answer? Shout it out if you've got it. Why would we say use organic lemon versus conventionally grown lemon?
Let's hear from the group. What do you think?
So pesticides won't be in the skin.
Thank you. Yes.
And who was that? I didn't get to see who was talking.
I couldn't see either.
Imani, Randall.
So I thought I recognized your voice.
Our regular.
To be sure, yeah.
It's totally that. And somebody else wrote, because, you know, it's natural, there are no pesticides. Right. But more importantly than that, it's what Imani mentioned, is the fact that it's not in the skin. The skin, when you're zesting, you're getting the skin off of citrus. And the skin is where pesticides are likely or more likely to accumulate. So if you're using the skin of anything, it's recommended that you purchase that ingredient organically. And when I say organic, it doesn't necessarily have to be labeled certified organic. It could simply be from your local farmer that you've gotten to know, and you've asked them, how do you grow your produce, and they will tell you whether or not they grow it organically, and they'll say, you know, we don't use pesticides. The fact of the matter is, a lot of growers, some small farmers, aren't able to get the certification to be labeled organic, because it's there's just a lot of hoops to jump through. It can be expensive, so a lot of people don't go all the way to get certified to be growing organically, but they practice organic farming methods. So that's the key. So make sure whenever you're using the skin of anything, you want to make sure that that's organic.
So Karen, can we get a shot of your pot? Let's see how the beans are coming along. And also, are you using a low sodium stock for that?
Can you see? So there's a little bit of sauce at the bottom. It looks really good. It smells so good. And the stock it actually does say 40% less sodium. That's not really what I look for. I'll read the label on the front, but what I really pay attention to is the label on the back. So where it says ingredients, that's the first place I go to. It's more important to me even than the nutrition facts, calories. Like, I'll go to that later, but first and foremost, I'm looking to see what's in this thing, because I I'm intentional about cooking for myself and making sure I know what ingredients are going into my body. So I look at the ingredients here. What's in this? Vegetable broth, and then so water, carrot juice, celery juice, contains, and then bell pepper juice, zucchini, green pepper, onion, leek, parsley, and then contains less than 2% of cane sugar, salt, white distilled vinegar, yeast extract, and natural flavors. So it's better than a lot of them where the first thing before it even says vegetable broth, it'll say water, or it'll say water and sugar. At least in this one, I get all the vegetables up front, and then the vegetable juice up front, and then the other stuff way towards the end. And the way the ingredient label is organized is the things that are listed first are the ones that are present in the highest concentration. So everything at the end is very little.
It's also super duper easy to make your own vegetable stock with
Ah,
any
we did that in a
anything that you have left over.
You could freeze them. Highly recommend it. Yay, so I just added, I need to show you. So I'm being super careful because this, I love this pot. The handles get really hot, so I need to be careful too.
It's ceramic. A couple of people have commented on the pan. It is a beautiful pan.
I like it. She got it at Marshall's, I know. And it was like a score. Like she didn't go to buy the pan, she just happened to see it. But do you see that?
Yum.
And I still have more asparagus to cook up and add to this. I'm gonna go.
Ava says she also makes her own stock.
Who said that?
Easy. Ava, who's also been cooking with us. I remember you, Ava. And I just wanted to take a minute to give Donna a shout out because she mentioned that she has a community farm, or she's a part of a community farm or garden in Far Rockaway, and that she is taking 5 chef classes with Green Thumb right now.
Wait, you hear the last part? She's doing what?
Fantastic. She is taking a class with Green Thumb. There are 5 sessions of chef training.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Keep us posted, Donna. Can't touch this. Maybe you want to. You're done.
We lost you a little bit there, Karen. Say that again.
I said, keep us posted, Donna. That sounds great. And maybe you want to become a part of Beautifully Fed Food when your training is complete.
I was thinking the same thing. I was waiting for you to say it.
In my mind. Awesome. I love it.
Ava said she wants to be a part of Beautifully Fed Food.
Yay, stay in touch with us. Reach out. Seriously, this isn't an empty request. We are a team of 5 people right now. 4 of us are chefs. The other is a strategic planner for us, which we desperately need. So yay! And we are in September. We'll be putting the official call out, looking for more folks to join our worker-owned cooperative business. That's the business model we're going to be pursuing, and it's the type of business where I don't know why this fire is on cut. It's the type of business where it's democratic. Everybody who's a worker is also an owner in the business. We all share in the profits and the losses and the decision making, all of it. So it's a really unique way of doing business, and we're really excited to do this and to open it up. So we'll be inviting about, I think, 8 to 10 more people on to join us. So yeah, if you're interested, stay in touch. Email me, Karen@beautifullyfed.com. Karen@beautifullyfed.com. We're also on Instagram at IamBeautifullyFed.com. Just IamBeautifullyFed. That's how much I know Instagram.
Put that email in the chat, everybody.
Please, thanks, Fiona. Also, I just thought of something. Fiona, what do you think of this? Wouldn't it be cool if folks could send us recipes, send us pictures of the food that they've made since they've been in class with us or even beyond. So if you've cooked either with us or after we've shared a class with you or shared a recipe with you, made the dish, show it to us on Instagram. And we will, anybody who does that after today's class, will send you a bonus recipe. Maybe we could send like our stock, how to make a vegetable stock guide, as well as this herb salt that I'm using in this right now. What do you think? Does that work? That works. I think that works. I'll show you my pan. You got you. Oh, it smells so good. Look at this. La 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 la. Okay. I'm gonna taste, and then I think I'm gonna add some lemon juice to this bad boy.
Karen, I always forget our Instagram handle. I am Beautifully Fed. Right?
That's it.
So you all should know social media is not my strong.
It's not mine either, y'all.
I confess. I don't spend my days and nights on Instagram or TikTok.
I didn't even know what TikTok was before COVID. I found out there was like I don't know, a webinar that I was on. There, I was talking about TikTok. I was like, wait, what's TikTok? Like, what exactly are we talking about right now? So yeah, that's how I am.
How's it tasting, Karen?
It's good. It needs salt. That's the first thing I noticed. I'm gonna turn the thing down. I like the sauciness. I'm gonna add what I like to do whenever I'm tasting something and I've pretty much assembled all the ingredients that the recipe calls for, but the flavors just aren't hitting it for me. I have 4 things that I look for that I think through first. I'm like, okay, does it need more fat? Does it need like olive oil or butter to give it a velvety texture? Does it need an acid, which will help to like brighten up the flavors, wake it up a bit? And acid kind of has a similar effect to salt without salt. So whenever I think something is needs salt, usually I'll go to acid before I go to the salt. So acid, fat. Does it need something sweet? Does it need, to balance out the salt? My favorite flavor combination is salty, sweet and salty. So, or savory and sweet. So yeah, salt. Does it need something sweet? Maybe I'll add some honey or maple syrup or something else. And then the other piece for me is pepper. Does it need? It's like pepper or heat. So when I think of pepper, I think of like grounding ingredients too. I'm not thinking just strictly of red pepper flakes, which is my go-to, but I'm also looking at something like cumin or smoked paprika that will help to kind of like ground the dish. And also back to fat, so I'm thinking of fats, butter, oil, and of course cheese. If you're into cheeses, you might want to add that. So those are some things. So I just tasted it. I didn't do a dance. I didn't do it. It's not ready yet. So I'm going to add some lemon juice first. Actually, will this lemon fit into my lemon?
Yeah, you can definitely eliminate the lemon in the recipe. I know sometimes, Karen, you've used apple cider vinegar in place of lemon in some of your recipes, or some other kind of citrus, maybe even a balsamic vinegar. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Acid, citrus, lime, oranges. I was actually thinking about orange in my water right now, and I have a couple of extra slices. I may end up garnishing this with some orange slices or just a little bit of orange. Yeah, whatever acid you have to have, I'd use that.
Sea salt or kosher?
Sea salt. I prefer sea salt here. Kosher is still processed, right? Processed. It depends on what you're able to find in your market. But for me, sea salt is the one where when I read the ingredients, the only thing that's in there is sea salt. So that's what I go for.
Someone's asking about how many lemons. I think it's really to your taste.
Yeah, the recipe calls for 1, but add what you like. And the recipe really just says to zest 1 lemon. It doesn't say to use the juice, but I like to use the juice. Like I said, I'm going for a sauce here. Oh. All right. I'm gonna wipe. And then give it another taste and see what we are. Oh no, now I'm gonna add my red pepper flakes and see what we are. And when I'm adding ingredients like this, dried spices that aren't ground, that still have some texture to it, I like to go like this and like manipulate them with my fingers to break them down a little bit. It helps to wake them up, revitalize the dormant spices that have just been hanging out in your cabinet forever. Having them sit in the hot pan before you're really cooking also does that. But this is just really good to do.
Yes, Donna, you can definitely use dry beans. I am a dry bean person. We were talking about this during another class, and someone said, well, I'm a lazy bean person, so I don't ever use dry beans. So I'm with you on that. I love using dry beans. So yes, you can definitely soak them. I was also sharing that I recently made some chickpeas, and for the first time, I soaked them with a teaspoon of baking soda, and it really did cut down on the cooking time.
So I didn't even know that was a technique.
Yeah.
and could be lessened. That's a brilliant find. And for me, I'm usually a lazy bean cooker too. But with these classes, I've learned how to soak dried beans, and it takes no effort at all. You take a pot, you put the beans in, you cover it with water, and you leave it alone. And that's it. You come back the next morning, and you can cook with it, or you can put it in like I did, put it in my freezer in baggies to let hang out until I am ready to cook with it. So voila. In fact, if I was thinking, I did that with, I also did a class with Green Thumb. It was a 5-day workshop with one of our partners in Beautifully Fed Food. Her name is Maya, and she had us making beans from scratch. And it was, what is the name of it's a bean that I never ate, but it's associated with Southern cooking, particularly around New Year's. For New Year's Day, you eat it when it's for good luck. Black-eyed
peas.
Black-eyed, thank you. Black-eyed peas. So we made black-eyed peas, and it was a dish that, that the adults would eat, and I would be like, I don't want that. But then it was called for in this recipe, and being a cook now, I know that a lot of things I didn't like as a child. My palate has grown, my palate has changed. I will try things now, so I tried it. I love black-eyed peas. Like, what have I been missing? What was I thinking? So anyways, I've got a bunch of black-eyed peas that I had already pre-soaked that are hanging out in my freezer, just waiting to easily be cooked in a dish. So I gotta go either find the recipe Maya gave me or find something else to put this in. So we're done here. I want to taste it once. I tasted it already. I forgot. I've been talking to y'all.
Yeah, so after you taste and after we check out everybody's dish, someone, and I know this is so, it's not totally off topic, but someone mentioned that she makes chickpea cutlets, and I think that a few of us are so curious about this.
Oh my gosh.
We want to hear more about the chickpea cutlets.
Same.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Karen is still tweaking a bit, so maybe we can hear about the chickpea cutlets while you tweak.
Yeah.
Are you okay on muting yourself and sharing with us? Put it in the chat. So Karina says that it's with chickpeas and Vital wheat gluten flour.
And then what do you do with that? Do you eat it like a patty? Like you would a black bean burger sort of a thing? Or how do you use your chickpea cutlets?
The pressure is on, Karina. We all want to hear the chickpea cutlets.
It sounds good.
She's trying to speak, must not be working. Oh, darn. You have teased us. Let's see. Can I unmute you? No, it's not unmuting on my end either.
Oh, you put it in the chat. Maybe we can look up a recipe and see.
You have a new thought, right? I had not thought of doing chickpea cutlets. So, yeah, like Karen said, now I'm going to investigate that.
This is delicious, y'all. The flavors are all the way there. I'm just adding a little bit more lemon juice for sauce. And then I'm going to add my pasta to this. I'm going to show it to you all.
Is anybody ready to share your dish after we see Karen's? This was an easy one tonight.
This is super easy. And it looks, I told you, I'm all about the fancy that looks fancy but isn't fussy. So I'm all about non-fussy fancy. So this is
a perfect weeknight dish because after a long day at work, who wants to spend a ton of time in the kitchen? So this is a perfect quick meal.
Right. So now I'm just going to add my pasta out, and then I left a little bit of on broth, on water that it was
made in your kitchen.
I like using my hands, people. I cook with my hands. I eat with my hands. My hands are important to me.
So someone asked if we use lemon instead of salt. So we actually do use both. And there was also a question earlier in the chat, and I was thinking this is one of Karen's favorite questions. Why sea salt instead of regular salt?
Yeah, we get asked this a lot. So, and and I was as clueless as a lot of you before I started, not just cooking, but learning about culinary nutrition and how food is medicine. And I learned that the salt that had been in my cabinet for years, what was it? I don't need to shout them out, but whatever. The one with the umbrella, the Morton salt, whatever. Iodized salt is what it's called. It's very fine, like powder. That salt is very processed, ripped of its nutrients, and then iodine was added because back in the 70s we needed iodine in our diet, so they fortified it with that. But they really stripped the salt of everything that's good. And so I learned that if you want to get, and salt is essential, is an essential mineral for our bodies. Our body requires it. It requires, salt that is nutritious. And iodized salt is not that. Sea salt is that. Sea salt is pure. Sea salt comes from the sea. I actually did one of my class, and I knew that, theoretically out there somewhere. But then we did one of our cooking classes. I was doing a demo, and a participant was telling them about the benefits of sea salt. And a participant told me she's from Jamaica and how she grew up. One of her chores was to go out once a week to the ocean, just right there, or the Caribbean Sea, and take it. I've forgotten how she would do it, but she would take a thing out to the ocean and collect the water, and then lift out to sift out the water, and then what was left was salt. And she would bring it home, and they would lay it out in the sun to dry, and then once dried, they'd put it into a jar, and that was the salt used for the week. Literally, sea salt from the sea. So that's what I'm talking about, people. Like we're going back to our roots. We're going back to real food that isn't messed with, isn't adulterated. We want the good stuff. And so sea salt is good. That's why sea salt. And it tastes better. And another thing that I discovered is the iodized salt, the powdered salt that many folks still have in their kitchens. That Beautifully Fed Food is in the business of educating folks so that they know what it is that they have and can make better choices if they choose to. That salt that most folks have is what they're cooking with, but recipes that folks are following, when they're following recipes, will often say kosher salt or sea salt if they say the type of salt at all. And even if they don't say the type of salt, most trained chefs have been trained to use sea salt or kosher salt. So that's the salt that they're measuring with. And if you compare the powdered iodized salt to the grain of coarse salt or kosher or sea salt, you'll see it's nearly twice as big, if not more. So you're using more salt if you're using iodized salt if you're following a recipe. So something for you to know. FYI. Go ahead. I'm going to show you.
So we have a whole separate situation going on in the chat about chickpea cutlets. So we are getting lots of good information about your dish as well as about the chickpea cutlets.
I love it. That's fantastic. Tell me, what are you learning about the chickpea cutlets? What do folks put in it?
Well, we've got a recipe now.
Yay.
A can of drained chickpeas, or for those of us who are purists and go for the dry chickpeas, grated cheese, breadcrumbs. I didn't even imagine that this would have cheese in it. Wow. Breadcrumbs, an egg, lemon juice, flour, coriander, yum, mint, parsley. It almost reminds me of falafels.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it sounds kind of like. I sworn I had another. Oh. I'm losing my. Wait, there it is. Right.
All right, folks. So who's cooking? Who has a dish that you can share with us? We would love to see your beans. Ava, how is it going? Lonnie, you're usually cooking with us.
It's going good. This is Ava. It's going good. I use green beans. I should have blanched them first, so they're hard. So they're gonna take a while. But I'll show you my pie.
Oh, actually, I think I just saw someone who's ready. Who was that? Let me come back to you. Elizabeth, I'm going to spotlight your dish. May I? Yeah. Nice. So you added the sun-dried tomatoes. Nice. Added a little more color to it.
Really pretty.
Thank you so much.
What was that? That looks great.
Let's see. Ava, let me know when we should come back over to you.
I want to get my sun-dried tomatoes now too. Thanks for remembering. That's all of this is missing now.
Hi, it's Debbie.
And cheese, sorry.
Can you see me? I cooked.
Let me find you. I'll come right back to you. Oh, Deborah.
So I did have a question because my asparagus is bigger. Oops, there you go. And I was wondering if it makes a difference to do the smaller ones. Cut smaller.
I'm so glad you asked, dear. What's your name? I can't see.
Debbie.
Hey, Debbie. So glad you asked. I meant to point out in the beginning when I was doing all my asparagus that, yeah, I tend to go for the personal preference completely. But the difference between the skinny asparagus and the bigger ones is the bigger ones are more fibrous. There's more asparagus to them, right? So they're more fibrous, more dense, requires a lot more chewing time. And I find that the skinnier asparagus tends to be quite tender. They have a nicer crunch to them because they're so small, and the flavor is just more because it's like packed into a smaller, quantity. So that's why I go for the skinny ones. As far as cooking them, yeah, you're just gonna have to cook it a little bit longer. And taste it as you go. Like taste it because you still want there to be a crunch. So don't overcook it. But yeah, see what you like. You might find that you like the fibrous texture. That's different.
Thanks.
Thanks for asking.
Over to Ava so that we can take a look at her pot.
I want to see. Hey, Ava.
Hey guys, what's going on, my beautiful people?
Hola, Panama. ¿Cómo está?
You made yours with more of a sauce. I love that.
Ooh, yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Have you tasted it yet?
I did. I used the green beans, so I have to cook them a little longer. I should have blanched them first.
Yeah, I heard you saying that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay. But the peas are good. You like them?
Oh wait, they soft now. Oh, it's ready. Oh my God, this is good. Yeah. I think I'm gonna put some red pepper flakes in it.
There you go. Describe the taste for folks who aren't cooking. Like what do you like about it?
I'm tasting the beans and made a nice sauce, so it created a richness. Yeah. And also the lemon juice mixed with the salt is a nice combination of, like a salty, acidic flavor. Mm-hmm. Then you have the bitterness from the sun-dried tomato. It goes perfect with the slight crunch of the green beans. So everything goes together really nicely. And then I'm going to put this over some quinoa that I put in, I cooked it in veggie broth and a little bit of coconut milk.
Awesome.
I'm going to put this over that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's so smart. That would be great to add to this too. If you don't have vegetable broth, you don't have wine, a little bit of coconut milk, it'll change up the dish a bit, but it'll still be really nice. Ooh,
yeah.
Bring the Caribbean to it. Yes.
Made her.
Panama, where you're from, Ava?
I'm from Brooklyn.
Same difference.
My mother's from Panama. That's why I have on the apron, the Panama apron.
I get it. I want y'all to see my dish. Thank you, Ava. Thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Somebody asked me how much dried tomatoes I want to use. More than that. So I use 5, and I can't see it dispersed throughout. They're kind of hidden. So I'm going to use, I think I want 5 more. So I'm going to double the amount. And I love how many people also have sun-dried tomatoes in their cabinets. So they can just, at the spur of the moment, say, oh yeah, I'm going to add sun-dried tomatoes to my dish too. That is brilliant.
So Elizabeth tasted hers and she said that it's really good. And Renee made hers with chickpeas. Renee, would you share your dish with us?
Sure.
Yeah? Okay, great. I'm coming over to you.
Over.
Let's see. Ready? Let me know. Yum. So you decided not to do as much sauce with yours. So that's a nice option too. Recipes are so versatile, right? So we went from Ava's where she made hers really saucy and then you liked yours on the drier side.
Right.
Cool. Yeah.
It's delicious though. It's really nice.
Yeah. How are you gonna serve it?
I think I'm just gonna eat it by myself, but for my husband, he's gonna have rice with his lamb. But I'm gonna eat that by itself.
Right? Just the spoons. All you need are.
So I'm finding that, I'm actually noticing a trend. So we did chickpeas with green beans. Now we have the cannelli beans with asparagus. It just seems like adding beans and a green, and you've got such a quick and delicious dish.
Yeah, it is, and it's easy to add to just about anything. Ever since I learned like how important beans are and that I'm not getting enough in my diet typically, I started just incorporating it to dishes that I already have. For instance, I had a soup that I didn't finish eating. I was tired of the soup. I was only eating the soup. It was a butternut squash soup, and then I added beans to it to just like change up the flavor. I also added some smoked paprika, and it became a whole other dish that I poured over rice. So it was no longer soup; it was something else. So yeah, you could add. Think about whatever dish you're making and see how you can add beans and greens to it to make it creative and delicious. Again, that's
Longevity foods, beans and greens for sure.
I love it. Greens. I'm gonna taste this now, y'all. This looks so good.
Everybody get ready for the dance. That's how we know that Karen really loves her dish.
If I'm not dancing, we're not done cooking, y'all. All right. I washed the fork. And
There's the dance. And you have now been beautifully fed when you see the dance.
Yeah, man. It's a done deal. This is yum.
Those of us who are not eating right now, Karen, that's enough. We're hungry.
Fine. All right, I'll stop my dancing. We're done, y'all. We did it. This is our last class. This round. Hope to be back with you soon. Cheers. And here's to being beautifully fed.
Cheers, everyone.